You are live and on recording. And I am up. I am pleased and thrilled to be introducing my good friend, Don Hancy, who I have been working with for... Oh, geez. And then I just lost my intro. Anyway, so I'm just going to have to go off my cuff. Don, I hope you bear with me. Don and I have been in a mastermind together for the last 3-4 years. I can never remember exactly how long it's been, but we have had a really amazing experience of supporting each other, getting to know each other really well. And the third member of our mastermind is our presenter who just left, Nancy Adair. Dawn brings with her, one, a love of music. She's one of the few people that I know who has got an incredible voice. And so if we have the pleasure of hearing that today, I don't know. But what I do know is that Dawn has a great passion for the essential arts. And included among those essential arts is the art of Reiki, which is what her presentation will be about today. And with that, I will turn the time over to my good friend, Dawn Hancy.
Thank you, Steve. Can you hear me okay? How's the sound? Okay, great. Thanks so much to Steve for the introduction. You do know me and you didn't need the bio in front of you. That was perfect. Thank you. And a shout out to Nancy, who we just heard from, also dear friend and colleague. And thank you, Olivia, for choosing that song before I even had a chance to think about what song I wanted to introduce myself with today or connect with you. Olivia picked that and it just turned out to be perfect. And every little thing that she does isn't just me. I'm singing it to all of you. So instead of singing today, we're dancing. It's beautiful. And thank you to Irma for the gift of learning about 2 new goddesses just in the last session. When the chat, she was sharing about Sedna and Eos. So 2 goddesses I'm going to need to go look up. I have homework already, right? What kind of presentation is this? All right. So on to what Steve was just describing, I would like to welcome you to the Essential Arts Institute, an ephemeral institution where we flourish together and where our essence, our heart song, is both essential, as in absolutely necessary to thrive, and an art we craft and shape creatively throughout every aspect of our lives. So today I'm excited to share the story of essential arts and the essential art of Reiki, provide an opportunity for you to experience a taste of the gifts of Reiki, and offer you some next steps and practices you can continue to enjoy after our time here together. So first, I'd like to invite you to co-create with me a safe, sacred space for learning, healing, and transformation together, really to continue what's been happening through this summit and through the day already. And boy, that music just brought the energy up. It's so beautiful if we can hold that excitement and also create a softness around it and have the beautiful harmonic balance. So to begin, let's center ourselves by breathing mindfully together. I realize we're already breathing, but now we're going to bring our attention more fully into our breath, which can help us focus on being present here and now, wherever you are and whatever else you might be doing. Whether you're driving or at work or sitting quietly in front of your computer, just participate in whatever way is safe and comfortable for you, knowing that it's just right for this moment. We want you to be safe on the road or whatever you're doing. So allow your awareness of your breath to deepen, extending all the way inside to the spark of life in each of your cells. And then expanding to the air, the space around you. and even down into the earth below, grounding your energy and awareness in your body, in physical reality, even as we open gently to other energetic realms and levels. Now bring your awareness to the others here in this summit with you. Sense the energy of the circle gathering and getting stronger as we witness it and presence it together. Imagine our Zoom room becoming a circle in your mind, if that's helpful. Or picture us in a room, in a building, or outside, whatever feels right for you. And in this space and awareness, we can set intentions that will resonate throughout our time together and beyond. So here are mine. First, to create this safe, sacred space for learning, healing, and transformation. We've already begun our work together. To inspire you to reflect, connect, and center your higher, deeper, essential self. To encourage you to craft your practice of daily life into an essential art for optimal wellness and success, whatever that is for you in this moment. To introduce the system and practice of Reiki as a gentle, powerful way to enhance these natural skills and abilities, and to practice together some basic elements of the essential art of Reiki, such as healing hand positions and contemplating the 5 Reiki precepts or principles. This will be an introductory presentation and experience for you, not Reiki training, which requires a special attunement. So you will not be able to practice Reiki after just this session, but anyone will be able to learn and benefit from our time together here. So you are welcome to share in the chat your intentions for this session for day 3 of the summit, or for what you'd like to take from this summit going forward. Or you could even come off mute if you wanted to just briefly, say a word or a phrase. Or as we go along, you can put things in the chat as well.
I'll jump in, Dawn. One of the things that I do every morning is I have a little gratitude journal, which includes things like setting the intention. And one of the things that I recently added is setting a word for the day. And my intention for today, I've had a different intention, kind of a different focus for each day of the summit, but my intention, and I think it's perfect that you are asking that question right now, just because of who you are and what your focus is celebrating everybody's gifts and how that, we create wonderful things together when we honor each other's gifts.
Yeah. Wow, that's perfect, Steve. Thank you. That is a beautiful intention. Great. Well, as we go on, again, if you want to pop them in the chat, and Steve or Olivia can keep an eye on that as well, and maybe jump in if there are other comments.
Yes, Catherine wrote she's at peace, and my word that came up for me just now is clairvoyance.
Yeah, that's
I'd love
amazing.
to tap into that today.
That's awesome. Absolutely.
And Helen has written receive and share energy. And what we did last night was so amazing, and it came about that the most powerful exchange that we can have is an energy exchange. So I'm super excited to hear what you will bring forth today, Dawn.
Yeah, great. And hello, Irma, fellow or sister Reiki Master Coach. Cool. We are everywhere. All right. And now I will tell you the story of essential arts and the essential art of Reiki. Once upon a time, there was a magical shop in the heart of the Green Mountains of Vermont called Mugwort and Malachite. True story. Opened and run by a wonderful wise woman named Peggy Hammond. She not only sold delightful books, crystals, card decks, and magical tools there, she also led a full moon magic circle, held classes like Goddesses 101, and offered space for others in the community to hold classes as well. I ended up both teaching and taking classes there, which is how I came to begin my Reiki training, but I'll come back to that in a moment. This little cooperative educational hub gave me the idea for more collaborative classes in a center and community created for that purpose on a farm with a temple. Oh, it was a grand vision. And that was the inspiration for Essential Arts, practices and systems that are necessary not only for our survival, but for our holistic well-being, growth, and evolution, and to fulfill our potential and co-create our destiny. An evolving system of empowering experiential education that integrates mind, body, emotion, and spirit. As this beautiful idea grew, it also felt very far out of reach. I live on a modest homestead, not a place where this could actually happen, didn't have access to vast amounts of capital to invest, and it was before crowdfunding really was a thing. So I relegated it to the deep bin of someday. Until a dear friend of mine, Grace Michelle, asked me a magical question. She said, "What can you do now with what you've got to get started?" And with that key of affirmation fitting into the lock of potential, the door to manifestation was opened. And I began slowly and in fits and starts, but I kept coming back to it and moving to the next level as time, energy, and circumstance would allow, and as inspiration would arrive. So fast forward several years, during which time life happens and things like my son growing up and moving out, but happily not too far away, my mother aging and living with us, and then moving to a place nearby where she can be more appropriately cared for. And then me finding myself a happy, empty nester with more time and energy to devote to this dream. I'm currently focusing on the essential healing art of Reiki, with other essential arts coming soon or soonish or eventually, such as essential historical arts like genealogy and steampunk culture, essential fiber arts like spinning and embroidery and bargello, essential homestead arts like permaculture gardening, preserving the harvest through drying herbs, fermenting foods, making basic recipes from scratch, and essential spiritual arts like ritual, meditation, and divination. Clairvoyance, Olivia. These are part of the new renaissance I spoke about a few months ago here in the most recent summit. A rebirth of culture where diversity is valued and we can all flourish together as a human family in harmony with our sacred earth home. And maybe if you wanted to pop in the chat and think about it, or as you're doing your vision board, your heart collage, something that you have that's a big dream, but is there a seed of it that you can plant now? Is there somewhere that you can get started now? Some small way that you can begin to express your dream, let it take root, let it take on a life of its own. So maybe I don't have a big building or community on the land, it's a center, but here are virtual programs. Yeah, what can you do now to get started? So meanwhile, while you're thinking about that, next I'd like to share my Reiki story and the story of the essential art of Reiki. And it doesn't start with a healing miracle or a great epiphany. In fact, when I first heard of Reiki back in Cleveland before I moved to Vermont about almost 19, 20 years ago, first time I heard of Reiki, I really just didn't get it. I knew it was some spiritual thing practiced by some progressive nuns in the area. Actually, I think they might have been at St. Joseph Convent or Ursuline College where I worked in the library. But I had no idea what it really was or why it would interest me. And then I met Joanne Vonner and her husband, Joe Vonner, at Mugwort and Malachite, the magical shop I mentioned earlier. They were and are Reiki masters and teachers, and offered to hold a Reiki level 1 class, which some of my friends are going to attend. When they described it, this time I was amazed at how powerful, magical, and fun it sounded. And while I still really didn't know exactly what it was, I knew a bit more about energy work by this time, and I just knew I had to be there. It was a lovely day we spent together learning about some common healing hand positions, the Reiki principles or precepts, a bit of Reiki history, receiving our attunements, and then practicing with each other. After the class, I dutifully practiced on myself every morning and evening for the recommended 21 days. But after that, I didn't know what to do next, how to maintain or cultivate my self-healing practice, and how best to use it to help others. I understood that I now had healing power in my hands, but still didn't quite know what to do with it and didn't feel very confident explaining it to people, let alone working with them, unless I was already very comfortable with them or they had some idea what it was. I did manage to help friends with headaches and colds and various other ailments or discomfort occasionally, but I didn't practice regularly and was still a bit confused. Several years went by, and I wasn't able to take the level 2 class when it was offered, and then the Vonners moved away. So eventually, about 7 years ago, I started training again with Deb Davidson, who happened to live just a half mile down the road from me. My husband and another close friend and neighbor took the training too, so we were able to practice together and talk about it with people who knew what we were talking about, at least somewhat. I also discovered the work of Pamela Miles, whose website emphasized self-practice so strongly that I resumed my own daily practice in a modified form. Around the same time, I started offering professional sessions. And Pamela Miles says right on her website, she will not recommend a Reiki practitioner who doesn't work on themselves and their own self-healing every day. I took that very seriously. And I learned that I didn't have to do the whole long session every day that I had learned in class, that I could adjust it to fit my real life. So this coincided with my new empty nest phase and a chance meeting with a woman who was offering space one day a week at her healing arts studio, Hope Haviland. I decided to move my Reiki table out of my living room, level up my professional practice, and establish myself in the community. Then followed several years of practicing, volunteering, learning business and online tech skills, moving my office, and learning to teach. I volunteered for a hospice agency, a hospital, and a domestic and sexual violence survivor support and prevention program, and at community events with the Vermont Reiki Association, gaining even more experience with Reiki in various settings. Through my self-practice, training through the master and teacher levels with Deb, and further self-education and more experience working with others, I came to understand Reiki better as a healing arts practice for oneself and others, a path of spiritual growth, and a beautiful way of life. The Essential Art of Reiki developed not only as self-care and a professional practice, but also in teaching, which is my favorite. Whether as a librarian, speaker, spiritualist, lay pastor, ritual priestess, or Reiki trainer, I love to share my passions with others in ways that are empowering, enlivening, and uplifting. From the soul collage technique that I learned from being part of the summit, I could say I am one who innovates and integrates, a lifelong learner and librarian who loves to teach by illuminating the brilliance that already lives within the people around me. In my teaching and practice, I began to reflect on my own desires and frustrations with Reiki, especially in the early days. I realized that more Reiki practice support is needed beyond the traditional training levels. So I've created an 8-week program called Bring Reiki to Life. And I decided to offer coaching to help Reiki practitioners develop their own personal and professional practices and to find their own unique Reiki path. The mission of Essential Art of Reiki is to empower people in achieving their optimal wellness and success, in creating their own satisfying and successful Reiki personal practice, and in discovering their unique Reiki path in life based on the core program, Bring Reiki to Life. At the heart of my business is the vision of a community of clients, students, providers, teachers, authors, and other Reiki practitioners who support one another, share experiences and information, continue their education and practice, help grow and strengthen the larger Reiki community, and bring more Reiki into the world for the benefit of all. Joining the Sing Your Heart Song Summit was the culmination of a 4-year friendship with Steve and Nancy, forming the Intentional Alchemy Mastermind after we met in a coaching program, decided not to work with the coach and just support each other in our small businesses. So I'm very grateful for this experience and opportunity to meet new friends and colleagues and help more people enjoy the remarkable benefits of Reiki practice in helping us to discover, bring forth, and share our heart songs in a unique and powerful way. I'm just checking into the chat here. Intention to receive and share energy. Yeah, Helen, exactly. Online programs, right? The pandemic has been really tough in a lot of ways, but has given us some of these gifts or nudges in directions that maybe we'd been contemplating before and made some of the tools more accessible. and helped us connect and support each other too. So now enough about me. I would like to invite you to reflect, connect, and center your higher, deeper, essential self, the divine singer of that heart song, and then we'll do some other Reiki related practices. So again, breathe into your awareness of the circle that we've created here today. Sense the life force in each person here, in the Zoom room, in the summit, and the life force of the group itself as a whole. Maybe you picture it as spirit light, white light, golden healing light, or some other color that comes to you. You now tune into your own essence, your life force, the divine spark of life, higher self, deeper self, singer of your heart song. Now, from that expanded perspective, view with compassion the busy, scurrying, smaller self that is also wonderfully you. And continue to feel into that greater perspective. Perhaps you see your essential self as being at some distance from the busy human self, or perhaps you see a connection, however you picture. And now go into that busy mind a bit and just think about something you need to do later. Just touch it lightly. Maybe what you're going to have for dinner. Something mundane. And then gently shift back to that higher self, knowing your essence, vibrating with your heart song, and feel the calm, wise presence of that powerful, authentic aspect of your being that is always there, that connects with the divine, with the greater spirit of all, with the oneness, source. Just know that you can make this shift at any time, especially when the human personality gets overwhelmed, stressed, or confused. These aspects of our self or selves can become more integrated and aligned, more harmonious, less in conflict and competition with each other, each valued for its own worth. As Nancy was describing to us in the last session, instead of crushing your inner critic or trying to annihilate the ego or get rid of that mundane, busy, scurrying little self, it's beautiful, but it's like a child. We don't want to put it in charge of our greater journey or try to, from that small self, connect with the great divine. We can go into these levels of awareness and learn to shift easily between them with more practice. And as I think it was Lee was talking about earlier also, we don't want to just go off a cliff out into a journey into the unknown. It's helpful to have practice making these shifts a little at a time so that we become comfortable with the different levels of energy of ourselves, our guides, and so forth. So we can do it gently and safely for healing. We don't have to be spiritual overachievers. Everything's not always lightning bolts and choirs of angels. It's good to just be gentle and magnificent at the same time. So I encourage you to craft your practice of daily life into an art for your optimal wellness and success with exercises like the one we just shared. This practice can be part of your daily routine, a great way to start and end the day or a project time, take a little break or a longer one, enter into meditation or begin to learn to meditate, get grounded when you're feeling stressed, ask for guidance, and connect to spirit or your guides this way. Just by reaching up out of the busy everyday mind. Knowing it can be this simple can be encouraging and help you to feel more successful in managing your time and energy flow. You can allow yourself to feel like a skillful artisan or craftsperson as you consciously co-create the flow of energy through your day and in your body and mind by practicing making this shift. Again, gently, with lots of compassion and patience. You can even consider yourself an energy artisan, an essential artist, cultivating your ability to shape and guide your own physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual energy from this higher, deeper self that you have just connected with, and make every day a work of essential art. Remembering that not all works of art are equally pretty or attractive, but art always has value on multiple levels and can be powerful, inspirational, and healing. I wish Nancy's art teacher might have mentioned that in the sad lesson she was just sharing with us early too. Very powerful. So now I'd like to introduce the system and practice of Reiki as a gentle, powerful way to enhance these natural skills and abilities that we've tapped into a bit already. Just going to check the chat here. Yeah, the heart collage. Surrounded in peace, blue circle holding hands in this group. Sure, we can be in Zoom and then envision whatever feels right to bring us into the energy that we need. So Reiki is a system for working with our essential energies and living from our own essence, our heart song. It originated in Japan 100 years ago this year in 1922. So the system of Reiki includes hands-on practice, contemplation of 5 core principles or precepts, and striving to live their ideals, being part of a community of healers and seekers around the world, maybe about 1 million strong now, personal growth and enhanced well-being on all levels, from physical healing and wellness to mental and emotional balance to spiritual intuition and stronger connection with the divine. People talk about Reiki as being the energy, which is fine, but then it gets a little confusing. Is it our life force energy? Is it like other healing energies? Is it like laying on of hands? Is it a philosophy? Is it a religion? So I think looking at it as a system of practice and philosophy and a community and healing and well-being, to me that seems grounded and something I can kind of wrap my mind around and bring into a practical sense into life. Reiki training is unique, as I mentioned before, in being passed from a teacher to each student directly, whether in person or remotely, through a ritual known as attunement that activates the student's ability to sense and direct the flow of Reiki energy, which is a more expansive level than occurs naturally. So again, we will not do a Reiki attunement today, but I will share with you some of the gifts of Reiki that will give you a taste of its power and blessings and may inspire you to pursue your Reiki path or continue to cultivate it if you've had Reiki training in the past. So now let's practice together some basic elements of the essential art of Reiki, including some healing hand positions and learning the 5 Reiki precepts or principles. So again, breathe into your essential self and the essence of the group, our harmonious heart song. Shifting into that higher mind again, just a bit or however much feels right for you right now. Sense the life force or essential energy in yourself, in each person here, and in the collective circle we are creating. Place your hands with your palms together if it's safe and comfortable for you to do so, either touching or with a little bit of space in between. And just listen to the 5 Reiki precepts, noticing that you may feel energy flowing between your palms and fingers as you gently hold that position. I'll recite the precepts in Japanese a few times, then shortly we'll explore some possible English interpretations. For now, just listen, and you may notice the energy of the chant cleansing and charging the space that we're sharing and the space around you. Kyodaku wa ikaruna shimpai suna kanchashite gyo hageme hito ni shinsetsu ni. Kyodaku wa ikaruna shimpai suna kanchashite gyo hageme hito ni shinsetsu ni. Kyodaku wa ikaruna shimpai suna kanchashite gyo hageme hito ni shinsetsu ni. Kyodaku wa ikaruna shimpai suna kanchashite gyo hageme hito ni shinsetsu ni. Kyodaku wa ikaruna shimpai suna kanchashite gyo hageme hito ni shinsetsu ni. Now, holding the space for that energy to resonate. If it's comfortable for you, you may place one or both hands on your heart to send and receive some love for 1 minute. Next, you might move your hands to your head, perhaps with the intention to relieve eye strain. If you want to take off your glasses and gently just cup your hands over your eyes, or if you have a headache, maybe a hand on the forehead and one at the base of your skull, at the nape of your neck, or clear up some congestion, maybe with your hands on your temples, whatever feels comfortable. Again, for 1 minute, we'll let the energy flow. And now you can move your hands to your belly if that's comfortable, either over top of each other with palm to the back of your hand, or kind of stacked or next to each other, or even like a front and back sandwich with your lower back and belly, whatever is comfortable for you. For 1 more minute of our practice. We have now completed the connection with our 3 tanden, or the major energy centers of the Reiki tradition that align with Chinese medicine and some martial arts. You may have heard of the lower tanden, or dantian, and as it's known in Chinese. This corresponds to the belly energy center we just activated. Reiki training enhances this ability to generate and direct the flow of healing and blessing energy. And we all have the natural ability just waiting to awaken. Maybe your hands feel warm. Maybe you feel a little calmer, aware of divine presence. Whatever your experience is, if you'd like to put it in the chat in a moment, but we're not quite finished with our practice. So now I invite you to either leave your hands where they are or place them together again, or anywhere you would like to energize your healing or well-being, maybe the crown of your head, or someplace you're feeling some tension or discomfort or pain, whatever it is, and send that energy to the group and receive it at the same time, just by intending it, visualizing it, opening your heart, however it feels right for you, for 1 more minute. Wow, this is a powerful group. I'm feeling so much energy rising, like the energy from the music and the dancing before I started brought the energy up in a busy, kind of buzzing, wonderful celebration way. And this is a high energy in a calm way. And I can just feel it circulating through the group. It's so beautiful. Just gonna check into the chat here. Yeah. Bruce, you were attuned to level 2, have not been practicing. Right. The self-practice wasn't emphasized when I took my training either. It was mentioned, but either I just didn't get it or it wasn't emphasized that much. So it can be this simple. Yeah, please do start working on yourself again. You deserve it. And it's how we learn to get acquainted with the energy and become more confident. And it can just be as simple as those 3 tanden, or even just, just putting your hands together. Anyway, that the options are endless. I go into a lot of that in my classes and my coaching, but experiment. Whatever spirit leads you to do is right. You can't do Reiki wrong. So this is a good thing. It's so gentle. You can't break it. You can't hurt anyone with it. It's great. So I'm going to come back to those precepts because maybe you don't speak Japanese. I don't speak Japanese. This is the only Japanese I know. And if I said this to a Japanese person, they would look at me like I was crazy, probably. It would be like us quoting Shakespeare. So like, you get it, but you're like, yeah, that's not how we talk. So the precept, kyo dake wa, means just for today. And that introduces the whole practice, which is known as gokai. Just for today, it's like the 12-step, 1 day at a time. It's like saying, just for this moment, whatever today is, whatever this moment is, we always come back to the practice again, again, again. So just for this moment, I'm showing up for my practice. Kyo dake wa ikaruna is the first 2 are nots. I will not cultivate anger. I will not cultivate worry. And sometimes people say, oh, aren't affirmations supposed to be, yes, I will do this, it's positive, but it's okay to say no sometimes. So I have that question a lot in my classes. It's okay to say, I will not do this. It doesn't mean that we're all completely focused on the negative. We move on beyond that, but it's okay to say, yeah, we feel anger and worry sometimes, but I'm not going to cultivate that. It's not my path. It's not my way. So ikaruna, shimpai suna, the na part means not choosing worry and anger. And then kanchashite is gratitude. which can be grateful for something. There's so much to be grateful for. Even on our worst days, there's still something to be grateful for, the opportunity to have another breath, you know. And I've worked in hospice a lot doing Reiki with folks, and there's gratitude on a person's last day. There can be gratitude. There can be optimal wellness, whatever it is in that moment. There can be a divine presence of spirit. There's just so much to be grateful for if we practice it, and then it becomes a habit and it lifts our energy. Kyo dake wa ikaruna shimpaisuna kanchashite gyo hageme. The fourth one is my favorite, partly because it's kind of confusing and hard to really define. Japanese doesn't translate exactly into definitions anyway. It's very poetic. It's much more open to interpretation. But gyo hageme is more about our work, our purpose, our way of being in the world. It's not just your job and doing your job well. It can be that, but it's what am I here for? Or how is it that I want to go through life? Self-care, blessing others, learning and fulfilling my purpose, helping in the world, whatever it is. And the last one, Hitoni Shinsetsuni, is compassion for ourselves and all others. It's just beautiful. So those are the Reiki precepts to live by. Ideals, not to say that we do it perfect. This is the Kyodake wa, back to it again today. Okay, if I fall into the trap of getting angry and worrying, I can come back again and say, just for today, just for this practice, I begin again. So it's a beautiful cycle of renewal. So I thank you. I thank you so much for taking this time and practicing with me and cultivating this beautiful energy that we've raised together and giving your attention to your own well-being, to the group, and if you're multitasking, even to the awareness of our work together today and the intention to open to it. Thank you for sharing this precious gift of blending and enhancing our life force energy and healing intentions, singing our heart song together in beautiful harmony. So Steve, I'm not really singing a song today, but we got to do chanting instead. So takes all forms. I don't necessarily sing, opera and choral music all the time anymore. It's much more a devotional practice than a performance these days. So if you would like to continue to cultivate your optimal wellness and success and your Reiki path and practice with a few easy next steps, I invite you to schedule a complimentary optimal wellness or Reiki path and practice consult with me, where you can share your desires and intentions for your healing journey and personal growth and helping others, and learn about the options available that could best support you. I think the blurb in the chat has the specific link for the Reiki Path and Practice Consult, and the link on the Summit website page has the link for the Optimal Wellness. But really, either way, it works. It'll get you to schedule a time with me that's at no cost, and we'll discuss your wellness goals, your interest in healing arts and Reiki, and how I can best support your intentions and your well-being. And you can also visit www.essentialarts.net or email me at connect@essentialarts.net. In fact, you can enter a Valentine's Day drawing to receive a free complete full virtual Reiki session valued at $97. So just email connect@essentialarts.net and just tell me whether or not you've ever experienced Reiki. That's your tough question. And either way is okay. So that will enter your name in Monday's Heart Song virtual Reiki drawing, available only to people who are here today. And that email is in the chat as well. So now to close our beautiful time together, let's ground into the practice we shared earlier of embodying your awareness of being that divine heart song singer. With your eyes open, recall that sensation of shifting into your higher mind and becoming aware of your essential self. Breathe in that sensation. Notice how you may feel it in your body. Notice what images may come to mind, how you sense it, just the idea of it. Just let it grow a little bit. And then gently let it go, knowing that you always have access to all the universal energy you can ever need without needing to hold on to it. Let it flow down into the earth so that you emerge from this session feeling grounded and clear, revitalized, and ready to go on to the next moment in your day and in this summit. And I thank you so much for sharing the Essential Art of Reiki and the Sing Your Heart Song Summit with me today. Thank you, and blessed be. And I'm wondering if we have a few minutes for questions about Reiki training or coaching or anything else I've mentioned, or if folks would like to share anything else about the experience of the energy work that we've done here together. And again, please feel free to email me with any questions or comments that you think of later or don't have time to share now.
Well, we lost a couple of people, but for those who are present, Dawn, would you be willing to do a spin the wheel of names for a virtual Reiki session?
Sure, let's do that.
Yeah? Okay, so I'm
Yeah,
going to include
fine.
everybody's names